All right. Here we are at productive conflict. Now, productive conflict is made up of the first three things that you see on the screen, the first three icons: behavioral patterns, blind spots, and triggers. Who has ever experienced a trigger at work? Yep. Not you, Michael?
I was just kind of reading exactly how it's defined on here. I wasn't.
Michael's a military man. He
Yeah.
Oh,
doesn't have
right,
any
right,
triggers.
right. Yeah. All right.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm trained in this.
Uh-huh. Yeah. All right. So let me lay this out. So behavioral patterns are a repeated way of approaching a thing or person. It's likely how you go about getting things done at work or how you work with others. Now, blind spots are behavioral patterns that we run that we aren't consciously aware of. Maybe until somebody points it out through feedback and says, hey, have you ever considered or have you considered that, when this happens, this is the way, that you try to work through it? Something like that. Then triggers, they trigger internal conflict, which is an emotional reaction to something. Now, the unfortunate thing about when we get triggered is it makes clear cognition, judgment, reasoning, logic impossible. It literally hijacks your brain from working properly and being able to see things clearly. So even if you say, "Oh no, I'm not really triggered," or "I'm managing my trigger," bullshit. Sorry. It doesn't work that way. Your brain is not wired to work around it that way. You can't compartmentalize a trigger. It just doesn't work, right? Because once emotions get involved, they're going to hijack through your amygdala. They're going to hijack the rest of your brain. So all that to say, we've got to learn how to manage our own triggers, behavioral patterns, and blind spots to have more productivity, more alignment in the workplace. All right. Here is how we can transform a behavioral pattern or a blind spot. And again, I'm going to send you this deck, so we're going to go through it pretty fast because we're going to run right on time today. And then let me know if you have any questions or if you want to go through something, in a little bit more detail. Okay. I'm available to you guys. All right. So first of all, you've got to identify and name the pattern. So remember when we were in that earlier exercise in imposter and we named our inner imposter? Well, you're going to do the same thing here to label your behavioral pattern. So anybody have one that they want to throw out for an example? There's some examples on the screen.
Procrastination bugs me, but I'm also guilty of it.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah. That's why it bugs you, because you're guilty
Yeah,
of it.
apparently.
Yeah. Okay, let's use that. Great. All right, so that is nothing more than a behavioral pattern. Okay. You didn't come out of the womb being a procrastinator. You learned
I
it.
did. I did actually.
Not true. It
It was
is
two
not
weeks
true.
late.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe, but no. Truly, only 5% of our behavioral patterns or who we are is hardwired. The other 95% is moldable and changeable and transformable. So is procrastination. So you would just label, you can call it procrastination if you want, or maybe it has a more personable name, which I think makes it easier if you name it like that. So you would name it and then trace it back to the root cause, meaning when is the first time you can remember procrastinating? Where does that originate from?
Eighth grade research paper.
Oh, okay. Oh, share more.
We had 4 weeks for this research paper, and it was the biggest paper I had ever written. It was supposed to be 25 pages, and I waited until 2 days before it started. I don't
But
know
did you
why I
get a
waited.
good grade or no?
I did. I got
See,
an
that's
A.
the problem too.
I mean,
The problem.
but then it continued all throughout high school. All throughout high school.
Hmm.
I waited until the last minute for every big paper that I had to write. I didn't need to. There's no reason for it. I just knew that I could.
Mm.
So Karen, how does that fit in with like oh, you work well under pressure, because I feel like that's kind of what got stuck in my head too, where I did similar things. I always ended up passing, and I was like, well, I spent, 2 hours versus 3 weeks doing it. I must work
Hmm.
well under pressure. Let me keep doing it.
Right.
So it's like, how do you
Uh,
how do you break that? How do you train your brain to say the opposite?
yeah. All right. Here's
Hard.
exactly how. First of all, you have to realize the context of it. Just because you proved you could still get it done and get a passing grade doesn't mean that by writing your paper earlier, getting it done earlier, that you would have gotten a better grade and you could have given a better effort, right? That maybe your best could have come out in the paper had you started earlier and taken longer, right? That ultimately, by procrastinating and continuing to do so, you're simply proving that by shortchanging yourself, you can, operate under pressure, not operate well under pressure, just under pressure. And I bet that that's not what you want to do at work, right? I
No.
mean, we come to work every day subconsciously thinking, I want to do my best today. I want to be my best, not I want to see what I can get away with. So name it, then also pinpoint the root cause. We just did. Then identify and name a new pattern that when you run it, it will bring the result you want. So what would we call that in this scenario?
Reprogramming.
Yes, we would, but what's the name of the new pattern that we would
Oh.
run?
For a procrastinator, I guess it would be intentionally planning.
Yep, that could be. Absolutely. There's a variety of things that we could call this new pattern. What else could we call it?
Being proactive.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting
Proactive
early.
procrastinator.
Wow, you're holding
planning.
on. Holding on
Planning
with
to
the death grip.
No, not really. Not really.
I know. Oh, you guys are fun though. Very, very fun. All right, you get the gist of it. So identify probably the best name for the new pattern that will bring the result that you want. Okay. Then create a daily metric. This could be on your phone. You could set a reminder, for 10 o'clock in the morning for a week straight. In that reminder, put the name of the old pattern and then arrows to the new pattern. And then every time it pops up on your phone, report in to yourself on how it's going to change that pattern. So here's what will happen when you notice that you're running the pattern. So first of all, by creating that metric in your phone, creates a higher awareness to catch yourself when you're running that old pattern. Then when you notice that old pattern is running, stop right then. Sort of like stopping a thought in your brain that you don't want to continue with. You stop it right then, you interrupt it, and then run the new pattern instead. Is that pretty clear? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's actually very simple. And if you think about it, our brains are the most simplistic yet powerful machine that exists. So our brains will do anything it tells us to do, right? And if we tell it we're a procrastinator, then of course we're going to continue to be. But if we change the pattern and run a new one instead, then we're going to get the result that we're looking for. All right, so there's an exercise here. And please do this, just pair up within this group offline and share examples of your blind spots. Can you all do that?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
we can.
Yeah, all
I will
right.
force them.
All right, fabulous. I love it.
But she'll procrastinate about it. So.
Oh, no.
I'm not so bad anymore.
Somebody had to say it. Somebody had to say it.
Oh no, I'm never
She's
gonna
not
live
going
this
to,
down.
though. She's not going to, though, because she's going to transform that pattern. All right. So triggers. Triggers are a little bit different. It's mostly the same, just with one other nuance to manage a trigger. Now, somebody read the red text below the warning graphic, bottom left.
It is our individual responsibility to manage our triggers rather than to ask others to stop triggering us.
Yes. Yes. That's why we are studying how to manage triggers. Okay, because triggers, when we get triggered, basically, as I've already said, we lose logical cognition for as long as we are triggered. So, if it's a day, if it's half a day, if it's an hour, whatever it is, even if we feel like we're fighting through it and that we are setting it aside and compartmentalizing it and then able to work on other things, maybe, but not to the fullest extent that we could if we weren't triggered. So what a trigger does is just steals a lot of time and productivity and also mental and physical space from you. So first, we've got to start by noticing when we're triggered. What's the physical sensation we have when we're triggered? Does our heart speed up? Go ahead.
Annoyance, like immediately.
Okay. What does that feel like in your physical body?
I don't know. I guess a little heaviness right here, kind of in my throat and chest.
The elephant standing on you right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lump in your throat, heart speeds up. Some people get hot. Some people, their skin turns red.
Mine does right here. Like it's evident to everyone.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Okay. So just sit yourself down and notice that physical sensation of when you're triggered. Then think back on when you were triggered like this in the past. So you're pinpointing where that trigger started. What was the thing that triggered you? Was it a tone of voice? Was it a certain phrase? Was it a meaning that you applied to what was said or done? Then write that down. So write down the physical sensation of when you're triggered and then the origin of that trigger. Also name it. So that's in step 2, name the trigger. So then what you're going to do when the trigger starts to show up, and think of it this way, what is the warning sign of a trigger? Is it when someone says that specific thing or they use that tone of voice? What is the warning sign that, oh, I'm going to get triggered? Anyone?
I don't know if I have a warning sign. I feel like it's just like a trigger or a not trigger. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like for me, I don't really, I'm trying to think of work because like there are things that, might get me like upset or, I don't agree with, but it's not necessarily a trigger. I feel like a trigger happens without me even realizing it's coming and it just is like there.
Okay. Got it. Maybe think about the most recent time or two that you were triggered and then break it down, deconstruct it, because there usually is some signal. It's a sign that we are going to become triggered.
I start sweating.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. That's the kind of thing that it will, that it'll reveal. So there is a lead up and it might be short or it might be longer, but there is a sign of a trigger when it's coming. So write that down as well in those first 3 steps. And then when that warning sign shows up, stop what you're doing. Then say to yourself inside your head or out loud is preferable if you can, say, this is not that. And when you say that, visualize that this situation that is about to trigger you is not the same as, it is completely different than the origin situation of which created that trigger. That's the whole reason a trigger gets created, because your subconscious mind is trying to protect you. It's trying to stop something from happening that maybe is painful, that you don't like, that you don't want to happen in the future. So it creates this trigger, but your brain can't differentiate situationally. It just thinks that, oh, this situation is just like that one because you're feeling the same. The thought is the same. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you sever the trigger by when that warning sign comes up, you say to yourself, this is not that. This is not that. And you can literally visualize it. Use the visual of what's going on right now compared to the visual of the origination of the trigger. It severs it. It's the coolest thing ever. Okay. What you're basically doing there is just telling your brain, you can stand down. This situation is completely different than this one. And me getting triggered in this situation is the antithesis of what I want to happen. I want to still be able to see through this clearly and be productive moving through it. In fact, I don't even want the trigger to happen. I don't need protection. I'm okay. I got this. Who gets it? Yeah.
I think identifying triggers is going to be difficult. That's going to probably be the first step that I have to take, is identifying what the trigger actually is.
Okay. Is there anybody that could help you with that?
I would say my mother, but she's probably the cause of most of them.
I was going to say the same. Yeah, no. Maybe a close
probably
friend.
my husband.
Yeah.
Honestly, he
really
would be
well.
somebody that would know like what irritates me, I guess, or what triggers me.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, we're talking about triggers at work.
Yeah.
But those triggers from your mother, because a lot of triggers do. Hey, a lot of triggers are grown from interactions with our parents. It just is. You're exactly right. And they may transfer over into work. If somebody says or does the same kind of thing, that triggers you with your mother, yeah, you're gonna have the same reaction. For me, it always was men of authority. If you spoke over me harshly, very dictatorially, that would trigger me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you bring up a great point there, Erin, which is the exercise on this is to share amongst yourselves your number one trigger. Now, I would keep this in context. What is your number one trigger at work? Can everybody commit to doing that?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say that this is easy. It's not. Managing and severing triggers is difficult, but it's worth it. Okay. And severing triggers absolutely can be done. We're all capable of it. Our brains all work the same way. And if they're capable of forming a trigger, then they're capable of severing or changing a trigger. All right. That is what we have time for today. So I'm going to transition. There's one section left that we didn't get to. And again, I'm going to share the deck with everyone, and it's feedback. So how to elicit, how to receive, process, incorporate, and report back on feedback. Highly valuable because there's not enough feedback in the workplace today, not enough usable feedback. So this gives you the proven process and system for all of those uses of feedback. Okay. And that people can use with you as well. So when you are leading without a title and you've built trust and you've built a relationship, the other person, whoever you're leading without a title, they need to trust that they can give you feedback, maybe even unsolicited feedback, and you're going to listen and you're going to do something with it. Otherwise, this is how we've gotten ourselves into the whole complaint and investigation process in companies, that no matter what situation you're in, once you go down that road, it never turns out well for anyone. So I'd really like to see it if we could alleviate that whole system. It just doesn't work. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, hate it. Okay. Also accountability, and there's strategies for that. All right, so here are our action commitments from this webinar. Pick one area to practice trust giving this week, one conversation for a kind truth, and one behavior to adjust to create productive conflict. Everybody clear on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great. So to wrap up, leadership isn't about position. It's really about action and strategy. When you show up authentically, you give trust freely, you foster productive conversations, you lead no matter your title. And this introduces the Results Lab. It's a 9-week leadership accelerator for emerging and untitled leaders. It's designed for folks like you, and especially who are looking to lead without a title currently, and who may be working into a formal leadership position in the future, whether you know what that timeline is or not. Here are the 9-week topics that we'll discuss. And so what you get: 9 live interactive group coaching sessions that I'm going to lead. You also get a private community and portal for connection and resources. You guys already have your RQ leadership inventory or your core strengths inventory, but we'll go a little bit deeper in it Notice I mentioned earlier the tool for de-escalating. So I'll go ahead and share that, but there are deeper tools in that segment or that section that we'll go through. Application, feedback, and peer learning. Leadership tools you can use immediately. Progress tracking to measure your growth, because we measure everything here at Exponential Results. And live Q&A for tailored coaching every week. We do all of that by combining science-backed insight and practical leadership tools. All of this for the low price of $14.95. You've probably heard that somewhere before. And so if you're interested, let's schedule a strategy session. Chandra can connect us if you're interested or you have questions. And all of this will be completely tailored to those in the group. So just like I tailored this today for you guys, it'll be tailored to the participants. Questions, thoughts?
Not from me.
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you for fully showing up today. It has been an absolute privilege and pleasure. Oh my gosh. You guys are phenomenal.
See why
Thank
Chandra
you.
likes him.
Yes. I knew I had an inkling that would be the case. And now it's validated for sure. Oh yeah. Wow. Bunch of superstars.
Thank you for your time, Karen.
Thank
This was
you.
very,
Yes,
very
thank you.
insightful.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
everyone.
you.
Definitely made me think.
Let me know if there are questions or if you want to have further discussion.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Have a good one.
Bye.